Hey everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a craft room tour for 2025. This is an updated look at my space. If you wanted to get more details about my space, you can just visit my last video. I'll have it linked below, and it'll give you all the details about my craft room, my cabinets, all of that. But today I just really want to show you all the changes that I made over the past few months and kind of rearranging and making my space work for me. Last year, we added on to the space, and I just ended up taking my supplies and just stuff that was in storage and putting in that space. But I never really took time and thought about the flow and how I needed it to work for me. And over the past few months, I've been rearranging, working with it, and loving it. So I feel now is a good time to give you a tour of my space. One of my favorite parts of my craft room is this long workspace I have. It is a corner cabinets that go all the way down to the other end of my craft room. And in here is just a plethora of storage. I love this space. This is where I do a lot of prepping of supplies, prepping of a project that I'm working on, anything that I'm getting ready to work on usually gets prepped in that area. In the center of my room is my craft island. This is where I sit and do my filming, I do editing, I do crafting, all from this spot. It has a bunch of electronics, microphones, lights all around it because this, like I said, is where I film. But this is also my big main craft area. And that is right here in the center of the room. I have a hard time getting a really good angle of it because I don't have much space to get my tripod and stuff in between here. But that's my favorite little crafty spot. This is where I sit the most when I'm up here in my space. As you walk up to my craft room, which is the hallway right there, I have a set of Alex drawers. I've had these Alex drawers for many, many years. They were in my original crafty space, and I've used them for many, many different things. Lately, they've been just a great mix of different types of items. Next to my Alex drawers, I have this little alcove, and in here is where I have a built-in bookcase, and then I also have my sewing table, which fits in there perfectly. And that area right there is kind of a area that I'm always in process of working on, but it's just a great little storage spot, especially my built-in bookcase. On the wall, as you come up the stairs, I have a big letter C that I've had for many years. And then we move into my newer space, and I will go into that space and I'll show you what is in there. On the right-hand side of my craft space, I have an office area. This is where I sit to do some work, shopping, that type of thing. And then on the left-hand side is my bank of storage, which is now where I have all of my card making supplies. Whenever I do a tour of my craft room, I always start with my Alex drawers, so I figure we'll just start here today as well. On the very top of my Alex drawers, I do have one of these 3-drawer acrylic shelving systems that I think I picked up at Michael's, but I could have also picked it up on Amazon. I've had it for a long time. I will say it's packed with 12 by 12 cardstock. I don't want to pull any of the drawers out because when I do, the sides warp and then it's hard getting the tray back in. I have to kind of prop a tray up above it to get the tray back in. So I'm not going to take that out, but I do have this here. And now let's go down and we'll show you what's in all of the drawers of the Alex. So I'm going to start with the top drawer. This drawer is all foam adhesive. I have rolls of foam adhesive here. Amazon, if you're ever looking to get the 3D foam adhesive, you can buy them in packs for like $20 and you have them for a lifetime, which is what I have in here. Big rolls of Scotch, different types of foam adhesive are in this drawer. The second drawer is where I keep things like tape runners, liquid tape, or liquid glue rather, some paper trimmer, replacement blades, and different types of adhesive are in this drawer as well. This drawer is all of my Cricut supplies, anything that I need for my Cricut machines. So I have my Cricut Joy extra mats here, and then underneath that is where I keep my power cables, tools, and mats for my smaller Cricut Joy. That all is right here. My larger Cricut machines are actually at the bottom of the stairs since I don't use them quite as often as I do my Cricut Joy Extra. I use that all the time, but the other larger ones I don't use as much. The next drawer is going to be everything that I use for cross stitching and prepping a finished project. So I have like adhesive dots, some press board. I have hoops down at the bottom, but I do not use hoops. I stitch in hand, but I do have them just in case I decide to ever try using hoops, but they are in that drawer. The next drawer has just a little mix of things. I have some seasonal things in here, some photo prop things, like I have these little pumpkin sticks. I have some 4th of July or patriotic themed dried flowers, little pumpkins. So those are all in here. Sometimes I use these for props for photos. The next 3 drawers are all ribbon type of storage. This up here in this drawer is all baker's twine and just regular twine. So I have my May Arts in here. I have different types of baker's twine in this area. I also throw things in like this seam binding. I dyed it, but it wasn't the right color. So I just have that in here. I have a piece of ribbon that was on a packaging and I just threw it in this drawer. The next drawer is all ribbon. This is all of my different type of ribbon that are not seasonal or big rolls. They all live in here. This is stuff I would grab for card making, for home decor projects, that type of thing. I do have a bow maker on the side over here, and then different types of bow. My larger ribbon is actually stored in some clear acrylic containers behind my Alex drawers. I'm not going to show you that because I have to kind of balance on the stairs. So I'm not going to show you that, but that is where I do keep that larger size ribbon. The next drawer is going to be a mix of different types of ribbon. So I have some kind of, I guess you can call it my fancy ribbon drawer. So I have Lady Doc Creates in here, some specialty ribbons, my seam binding. I do have some velvet ribbon that I had from Christmas, and that all lives in this drawer. Then down in the bottom drawer is all of my paint supplies. I have some painter's tape, some stain, chalk paint, and that type of thing in the bottom drawer. This cart right here is my Michael's cart. I do have the inserts that you can buy for the tops to make it just a shelf, and then you can even pick it up and then put supplies in it. I am going to be using this as my sewing cart that has all of my notions on it, but I have not taken the time yet to get some storage containers for it, so it's really just a hodgepodge of things. I have like a bead storage container that's got the feet for my sewing machine. Down here is just a tray that's got acrylic, another acrylic tray inside of it that holds a mess of different things. So it's not very well organized, nor is the storage system for it finalized. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be my little sewing cart so that I can move it out of the way or move it over to the other side of the room if I need it. This is my built-in bookcase. On the very top shelf is where I keep my fabric. So I have a lot of fat quarter pieces up here that are wrapped around some chipboard pieces, and then I just keep them clipped with some fabric clips, and then they are sorted right on here. So I do have them in solid colors, and then I have patterns here. These are 2 little piles of fabric that I purchased recently that are just on the shelf waiting to be sorted onto the cards. I do have a clear acrylic container right here that's got scraps from leftover from some projects that I worked on. Those are here. And then on the very end is where I have my seasonal, like fall and Christmas. The second shelf is a work in progress. Eventually I would like to make this all larger fabric storage where I have them on cards standing up in this area, but that is to come. I need to get some more fabric to be able to do that. Right now, the largest pieces I have are just this little pile right here. This basket right here is from Target, and in here is just a little mix of different types of fabric and cards and that sort of thing. I recently purchased this basket, so I know you can pick it up at Target. I had purchased it to keep my cross-stitching projects in, but my cats decided to use it as a bed. So I switched it out to bring it up here because I can never get into my cross stitching because my cats were always sleeping on it. So, but that's what that is right here. And then I have a little pile of fabric on the side, and then my sublimation paper is right here. This technically needs to go downstairs with my printer, which is at the bottom of the stairs as well. This is the bottom shelf, and this is kind of a recent purchase. I was at Home Goods, and I saw this blue container, which I absolutely love. It's a great little storage container. It comes with little dividers, so you can sort each one of these into 3 different compartments. And it was like 30 some dollars. And I loved it. And I love the fact that it was blue. So I came home thinking, maybe I can find this somewhere else to buy it. And I did find it, and it was $20 more expensive. So I went back to Home Goods and bought the gray one because I had to get over the fact that they didn't match. But I do really like these. It's great storage for all those small things. So I've sorted things like my wood beads. I have wood spools. And this is a lot of wood things over here, just these wood decorative keychains that you can use for different types of projects. This one I have toothpicks in it. So there's many different things that you can do this for or use these for, but they are great for all those little small things. If I come over a little bit further in this section, I have, like this one has all of my Tim Holtz supplies. And what I like about this is I could just pull this whole tray out, take it to my desk, and then just bring it back right over to here. So I have a lot of metal things in here. I do also have like a tray that has just all buttons in it. And I also have, let's see, another one that'd be fun. This one's all jewelry beads that I'm using to make my own picks for some of my cross-stitching stuff. Yeah, so this is just a mix of all different types of things. It's great small storage, especially because you can sort these into 3 different compartments like I did with this button storage right here. So we have 3 different compartments here. Love that, and it makes it so much easier. I do have the little divider, so I could just show you. They just slip into these grooves right here, and you can slide it right in and make it into, you can have 2 or 3 compartments. On the top, I do have my sewing machine manual because I just purchased a new sewing machine over the summer, and I do have to reference it every once in a while, especially as a somewhat of a beginner sewer. And then on the top here is just a bead storage container that's got all snaps in it for sewing and different types of sewing projects. And then on the side over here, I don't know if you can see it, but that is the snap press for that machine, which I got for Christmas. I just need to buy some of the I don't know what you call them, the presses for it. And then I have just like a handheld press to use with those snaps there. So that is that area. And we're going to now move over and I'll show you my little sewing machine area. Next to my built-in bookcase is my sewing area. So I'm going to start up on the wall and we'll work our way down. So I don't have a lot of full wall space here in my craft room because I'm in the 3rd floor of our house and I have a lot of slanted ceilings, but I do have some wall space and I've tried to make the most of it. The 2 shelves that you're looking at are from Lowe's. They are the Roth and Allen or Allen and Roth collection. And on the very top one is where I have some acrylic containers that store my finished cards. And then on the second one, I have more fabric that needs to be sorted into or onto my little fat quarter card storage system. And then I have some velveteen. And in the middle there is a card that my aunt sent me right after my sister had passed away. Just some encouragement, and it means a lot to me. So I do have that sitting here on my shelf. Underneath the shelving, I have 2 IKEA pegboards. This first pegboard has a wooden thread spool holder just held up there using some of the hooks that you can buy for the IKEA system. And then this section over here, I've got a lot, and you'll see these a lot throughout my craft room. These little acrylic trays, they're great for storing little things, but they are kind of all over my craft room. I do have one of the little cups that has a pair of scissors. I, again, have those little containers. This one is just some of my upholstery thread. This one is a key for unlocking my feet on my machine. I have things like my additional needles for it, plus my walking foot is up here. And then, of course, I have my sewing machine. This is the Juki DX7. I love this machine. My other sewing machine was just a rinky-dink. I think it was under $100. I bought it just so I could sew on cards. And boy, can you tell the difference when you buy a better quality machine? I love this machine. I have been doing small projects here and there, just trying to get familiar with it. I do have my sewing machine on a table here. This table right here, I think it's by by Arrow. It's specifically made to be a sewing machine. It has a drop leaf in the middle where you can drop it down and you can set your sewing machine inside of there, but you do have to have this acrylic piece, which is by Arrow, and that is specially designed to go right around my sewing machine, so I have just a completely flat surface for sewing without having to, kind of hold my hands up or anything like that. But I love this. Table is fantastic, and it fit perfectly in this little nook. I did try to keep it in front of my storage cabinet or storage room, but I had to keep moving it every time I needed to go in there. On the side here, I have just some little trays and bowls for throwing needles and pins and stuff in. And then I have a chair right in the front. That's just an office chair that I found at HomeGoods. We're going to go over my craft island. This space right here is in the center of my room. This is my craft space, my filming space, and sometimes even a little bit of an office space as well. I didn't make many changes to the drawers as far as what I store in those drawers. I will go through them, but we're just going to talk about what I have on top and then we'll move into the drawers. So like I said, this is where I do my filming. I have recently changed my microphone location because you guys were telling me that it was sometimes hard to hear me. So I had to do a little bit of a change for my microphone. The computer, I use a Mac Studio for editing and for monitoring my filming. I have a Stream Deck so I could change cameras because I have a front-facing and a down-facing camera. And then I also have some lighting right around my desk as well. But let's talk about the craft supplies that I keep on the top of my desk. I'm going to start at the corner of my desk. This little basket right here is something that I shared in my favorite Amazon craft room storage organizers. And I love this container. It has things like my little tea ruler. It has some of my not razor blades, what do they call those? But this is a pen blade actually, like an X-Acto knife sort of thing. I do have scissors in here, tweezers, anything that I would need to reach for most often when I'm at my desk. And I usually keep those things on the top of my desk so it's easier to get to. I do have a 3-tiered tray back here. This is just a little metal tray. On the top I have glass spray bottles that have rubbing alcohol in it. I've got some of my favorite adhesive. I have a bottle for spraying water. I have a pin cushion. And then I also have my remote control that's for my air conditioning and heating system up here. And then I have 3 tape dispensers, totally not necessary, but these tape dispensers hold low-tack tape that I use a lot for die cutting. Next to that, I have my Sweet Petunia glue press. I think that's what it's called. But you keep your bottle of glue in here and you press it and it just, dispenses the liquid glue. And then I have a coffee cup warmer over here. In the center of my desk, of course, I keep my keyboards here. That's the Stream Deck that I use for switching between cameras. I have my monitor here. Those are just some pins that I recently purchased for making my own little decorative pins for some of my cross-stitching projects. This corner has a lot of tech stuff in it, so I have my microphone here, and then on my desktop, you're going to see I have a Glassboard Studio. This is the white or gray colored one. I have a couple of these throughout my craft room because I absolutely love them. I apologize, you're going to see a little bit of glare from lighting on this because we're at a weird angle. Normally you don't see that when I'm filming. And then I have a very small glass board. I think they were saying this was kind of like a watercolor palette, but I keep this right here, and then if I'm doing messy things, I will use that to kind of like throw my glue gun on it or anything like that. On the very end, I have my Anna Griffin mini Empress machine, which is perfect for this space. It doesn't take up a ton of space, but I have a larger size one, but this one works great right here. And then on the other side of my desk, which you can't see, is where I actually have a stand that has all of my computer equipment stored on it right there. In the top drawer on the left-hand side is all of my go-to card making supplies, like my favorite inks, my baby wipes, masking tape, acrylic blocks are in the back here, and they're all inside of these little wood bamboo sorters that I've found years ago locally. You could probably get them on Amazon, but this is kind of like my go-to stamp and inking section. This is my bottom cabinet, and you could probably see some of my wiring and stuff over there for my equipment, but this bottom cabinet, I just keep my heat gun hanging right on the handle, and then on the side of my cabinet is where I also have my heated tool, which is just a low heat drying system. And then in this cabinet is where I have some larger paper pads. I do have in all of my darker cabinets that have like a depth to it, I did go in and put in these little light bars that are magnetic. You can take it off, and it's motion sensors. So whenever I open the cabinets, the light comes on and I can see in there, and then it's just taking it down and put new batteries in. I haven't had to put batteries in them yet. In the back, I have all extra plates for my die cutting machines. I'm not even sure if you could see that. And then down on the bottom, I have things like my Mylar, my Bristol cardstock, watercolor cardstock, some Cricut tools or Cricut papers, and then label sheets are also in here. And then in the very back, I have my pencil sharpener. The top drawer is a drawer that I didn't know if I would be able to figure out what to do with it because it's not very deep, but I'll tell you what, it's one of the handiest drawers I have in my craft space. This is where I keep everything like my MISTI, my die cutting plates, my scoreboards, anything that I use for card making is right in this drawer as far as being a flat surface. So all of that just lives right in there. And then underneath my desk, you'll see I have a stool there. And then I also have a wicker basket that I use for my cross-stitch projects that are in progress. Right. We're going to go through the drawers on the right-hand side. This top drawer, and I apologize for the weird angle. It's the best angle I can get so you can see everything. This is the top drawer. This is a lot of go-to quick reach tools like extra scissors, remote controls. I have things like my stamp press in here, tape runners, just extra foam tape or foam tape that I'm actually currently using. Everything is in these little acrylic dividers. Like I said, I use a lot of acrylic trays. It just makes it easier so I could take things out of my drawers and right over to my desk. The second drawer is my cardstock drawer. Since I moved all of my cardstock into a different area, I wanted to have something that was still right here at my desk so that I can grab it really quick. I've die cut or cut down all of my cardstock to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch cuts, plus I saved some that are full cuts. I have my spellbinders and paper tray ink in here. I still have to do my Concord and 9th. Those are the only 3 cardstocks that I really use. But that is all right in here. They're all divided with these little plastic comic book dividers that I cut down to fit the space. Then on the end over here, I do have things like my 80-pound cardstock, my Nina cardstock, in the 80-pound and 110, Bristol cardstock, and then some pre-folded cards already. And then in the middle here is stuff like Yupo paper and Tim Holtz watercolor paper. Then this drawer is my kitchen junk drawer. This is a lot of extra supplies, things I don't use very often. I do have my crocodile here. I have things like a little hammer, craft hammer, some cleaning cloths. My blades are in here for my Cricut machines. Larger pockets that I use for storing stamps and dies, and envelopes. It's just like a little, almost like a junk drawer. There's a lot of just junk in there, but it's not junk, it's tools. It's things that I do use, but don't have to use all the time, so I don't mind keeping them down the bottom. This area right here is that long workspace that I absolutely love. This is the place where I do a lot of prepping of projects. I'm going to take you through what I have on the countertops, and then we will go through what is in the drawers. We're going to start right in this section right here. This is right at the very end, and the wall that divides between my old craft room and my new craft room. These are 2 of the IKEA pegboards and kind of a sewing station where I have things like my rulers and things like that. But I do have a couple of these longer trays. This particular tray has my hot glue gun in it and the wire for it. I do have a little needle minder stuck to it. This is just a decorative plant, and then I have some of my sewing rulers here. This bin right here, if you could see it, let me get you a better angle. This bin right here has the dissolvable pens and pencils and that kind of thing in there. Some of them are heat reactive, so they live there. I do have some smaller rulers here, some larger rulers. On the next board is my fabric scissors. I keep those on there so they're away from all of my other scissors. Extra of the glue sticks that go with my hot glue gun. I do have this little spray bottle here that's got some better, I think it's called Better Spray, what's it called? Best Press. Wow, that was totally wrong. But I do have that hanging there. That's for ironing. And then I have some antiquing kind of solutions up on the wall there as well. So right on the very counter here, this is just kind of recent purchases. I do have just some Valentine's Day things right here from Hobby Lobby and Michael's. I did pick up some of these Tim Holtz Ideology displays from Joann's because they are currently going out of business and these were on sale and I want to get them before they were gone because I thought they would make great displays or some cross-stitching projects. I do have my paper trimmer. This is my small paper trimmer here. One of the biggest things that's in the corner here is my embroidery machine. I love this. I use it all the time. I don't really do video projects for it, but I absolutely love playing with this machine. And right behind it is a binder that just has my manual for my machine. This area right here is a prep area for me. This is where I stand, and if I'm going to work on a project or trying to make some decisions or putting things together, this is where I'll stand. I do have a glass mat. This is one of the glass board mats in black on here, as well as underneath there, I could just lift this off. And underneath there, I do have a self-healing mat that's a 24 by 36, so that if I'm cutting fabric, I just have to move my glass mat, and then I can cut my fabric here as well. I have roll of paper towels. You have to have that in your crafty space. And then I have these two little drawers that if they had more, I would have bought more, but these are from Home Goods. I think they're Bino, B-I-N-O, I think is what it is, but these are great little storage containers, usually for makeup or jewelry or something like that, but I'm using them to store especially my DMC floss. Now, a lot of my DMC floss is in project bags. This is just the stuff that I have that doesn't belong to projects. So I do have them in a little bit of a rainbow order. So I have my pinks and reds, and then orange, yellow, and it just goes all the way through. The top two drawers are just things like extra pins and needles, and as well as my clover clips for when I am putting a sewing project together, so they're all right here and handy. What I like is I could just pull this out and put it down on my desktop. On the top, this is my little sewing kit. This is my sewing kit 26 years ago when I got married. And in here it's a film holder, but in here is just pins and needles that's all I was able to do when I first got married. So I still have that. I don't know why, but I do still have it. Then I have just a couple of little decorations. Like this is a cross stitch drum that I recently made, and I did add a little decorative pin to it. So that is right here. And then above that are some shelves that I picked up at Joann's many months ago. Actually, I should say many years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it came in a package of 3. This is the medium size shelf. There is a longer shelf and a smaller shelf. I'm using the medium and the longer. And on the top here is just where I keep all of my different types of rickrack. Next to that area is where I have my iron. I just, again, if I need to iron something, I'll pull out my ironing mat, put it on the top, and then just iron from here. Apologize for the plug. That is how we are filming today, by plug, not by battery. And then next to that are my color cubes. These are by Sarah Renee Clark. They come in great handy for not just card making, but any type of thing that you're trying to come up with a color scheme for. These are definitely very handy. Moving down is my section where I have a lot of my cross-stitching stuff. These two binders right here, well, this is a binder for growth, and this is a binder for my current patterns. I do have them in just some sheet protectors. I'll give you a little bit of a better view of this. So what I have is a binder with sheet protectors in it. I do have, and you probably can't see it, but there's these little labels that I stuck onto a main page, which I just put some craft cardstock in it, that I'm going to actually label these and sort them. I just haven't done it yet, but these are sorted by season. So this section would be for summer and patriotic, and then I have fall, and then in the back winter. As I get more, which probably will be in the next couple of weeks, because I did order a lot of stuff from the Nashville market, this will come into a 2-binder system, but I keep them right here. Eventually, my plan is to have them so that they're labeled on the spine with maybe a little tag or something like that. Next to that is just this little wicker basket. I have 2 of these in my craft room. They're usually used for things that need to be put away, things I need to use, or things that I'm going to use in a video. This particular basket's got some things in it like this, 2 patterns in here that I have the supplies for. I just need to get the fabric. that I want to work on very soon. I do have another storage system for that as well. And then this is a project that I just recently finished for Valentine's Day that I want to put into my next video when I film a floss tube video. This tray right here is just a tray that I picked up on clearance from Hobby Lobby last year, and it's more for decoration. On the top is just a frame that eventually is going to have our wedding photo in it. We are in the process of digitizing both sides of our family's photos, so eventually we're going to get to our wedding photos, and that is going to be in there. This is just a recent cross-stitch project. I have a couple of cross-stitch pillows down here. And then I have this tray right here, which I think may be depression glass. Not 100% sure. I tried to look it up and I think it is. But this was something that my mom had. And I inherited all of her depression glass. But she didn't have this with her depression glass. So when I looked it up, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Inside of it is a single earring of my mom's. I don't know why she was using it to hold one earring. Before I move into showing you what is in the drawers, this is the very last thing. This is just more decoration than anything, but this wood shelf I've had for many years, and on the top I have a cutout that has my name on it that my husband got me for Christmas last year. Just this snow globe from, well, it's actually from Christmas, but I think I'm just going to leave it up because I love the cardinals. And then I have a tag that I recently made. And then if you go down here, let me just get you a little lower. On the bottom here is just a Christmas decoration that I didn't put away, but I'm kind of leaving it here for the winter months. And then on the end here are these clear bags that have hooks on the top. This was inspired by Nicole Sporer. She did a vlogging series for Christmas time and stitching, and she was using these for storing kits, for storing fabric, and I'm using it for storing kits too. So these are kits that are fully ready to go. They have the fabric, the thread, and everything. I just need to pull one of the bags and I can get started. The end cabinet is just a 9-inch slim cabinet. It is great storage for things like paper trimmers, scoreboards, larger size scoreboards, as well as my cutting mats for my die cutting machines. This section is mostly going to be a lot of my cross stitching supplies. So the top drawer is a lot of my tools. I have things like my needles. I have conversion chart back here. In the front here, I've got some of these little clear acrylic trays. I did make my own floss drops for my DMC floss when I'm using that. I just did it with my Cricut machine. I do have some acrylic floss drops here, but I'm not a fan of these. They broke, a couple of them that broke when they were on the keyring. And then this is just another one. It's got like a little needle minder in there. And these are actually bands that you put around your different types of spools of thread. But I have a couple of these in here so that if I'm working with a larger size cross stitch pattern and my fabric is pretty big, I can just kind of roll up my fabric and put these on there, and it kind of keeps it in place a little bit better. I also have a cord making tool here. And then, like I said, this is all of my different threads. On this side, well, I do have a lot of these bamboo sorters, which you'll see them in a lot of my drawers. And I just use them to kind of segregate things in my drawers so I can have different types of things in my drawers instead of just being all one theme. But this acrylic container has just some specialty DMC floss in it, as well as some DMC floss that I did put on these little thread keepers. I'm not a fan of these because when you go to use it, your thread always has that little bend in it from the floss. So these are just ones that were, I attempted to go put them on there and then I changed my mind, and now I store them a different way, and I'll show you that in a couple minutes. This drawer right here has all of my project bags. The ones on this side are project bags that have projects in them that are kind of put to the side that I don't think I'm going to continue working on them, but they are just right here. Then underneath there are a bunch of the little plastic bags with the handles that I can use for making kits and so on. So we're just going to put these back. Then on the other side is a, oops, let's get that out of the way. Then on the other side are just bags that are empty. They're project bags. These are two that I made. This was my first attempt at making a project bag, and I just used some fabric that I had on hand. Then this is one I recently made that has like a quilting look to it. And then I also have in here some of my, well, just one of my finished cross stitches that have not been made into a project yet. This drawer is my fabric for cross stitching. I do have a bamboo sorter in here. This side is all my 32 count fabric, which is what I started with, and I really do enjoy working with 32 count, and I just have them in a little bit of a rainbow order. I don't have a whole lot of bold colors, like this pink I think is the boldest, and the blue, and then I have these lighter pastel pinks, but I do mostly like neutral colors. In the back are ones that I recently purchased that just need to be put onto cards, which I use comic book cards. And what I do is I wrap my fabric around the card, and on the top I'll put a note of what it is and what size it is. Sometimes if I do cut a piece off, I will go ahead and change the size just so I have that there. Or if I have scraps, I put them on the other side over here, which is this little container. And in here I have like a bag that says like 28 count, 32 count, and they're all just right in here. That if I need a small scrap, I can grab it out of here. If I know the name of it, like this one I know is Mushroom Light Mocha, and it's a 28 count Lugana, and I just have that right in here. So if I'm looking for that, I know what it is. This is a piece of cardboard. This right here is just the fabric clips that I use to hold the fabric onto the boards, and then I have some extra boards in the back here. And then on this side is 36 count. I just started playing with 36 count fabric, and I absolutely love it. So I have to do a little bit of sorting or putting these onto some cards. And then in the very back here is my 40 count, which I only have 2 of, and that's for when I'm feeling brave and want to try an even smaller count fabric. Then in the bottom drawer, I have my faux leather, which is on this side right here. I have some of the rolls here, and then some sheets of faux leather and sewing cork. And then I also have on this side all of my felt pieces. So this right here is all my paper tray ink felt. I have Benzie in the front here, and then in the back is the Pascha design. So we're going to move into the middle section of drawers here. The top drawer is my embroidery thread. This is what I use for my embroidery machine. I have them separated by the bamboo dividers, and then I have them in rainbow order, or at least my version of rainbow order. So those are all live here. Then I have a little bin right here that's got some more of those wraps that go around the thread. So you can see, like, this is a thread that I recently used, and then I put one of those on, and it just keeps the thread from coming off the spool and making a big mess in your drawer. If you've seen any of my other craft room videos, you know that these 2 drawers are usually my stamp and die storage, but that has changed. This drawer right here is a mix of things like my wool mat for ironing. I just pull it out, set it up on my countertop, and then I can do my ironing. I have my polyfill in here. I've got funnels. I have different types of heat and bond, just small heat and bond things in here, some fills, and that sort of thing. So that is what is in here. And then down in the bottom is all my different types of batting. I'm not very well organized with it, but it's all just in here, kind of a mess. I tried to keep like the original packaging so I know what it is, but I'm not very good at keeping that nice and organized. I probably should do a better job with that, but that is what's in these 2 drawers. Like I said, this used to be my stamp and die storage drawers. This next section of drawers is going to be my embroidery machine stuff. So this top drawer is where I keep a lot of my tools. I have things in here like my toolkit, my oils, my SD cards, or flash drives for transferring files over to the machine, bobbins, and that type of thing is in here. So those are just basically major tools that I use, like extra needles and that kind of thing. This drawer right here is going to have my magnetic hoops. These are my favorite hoops. I love these. For a while, I just had 2 of them. My husband gave me one for Christmas, and I love these. It just makes hooping your shirts or fabric or whatever so much easier, and I love those. This drawer has the hoops that came with my machine. Now, I don't use these quite often, but if I do something small, I will pull out the smaller ones just because I don't want to waste a big piece of stabilizer for something small, so I will pull these out every once in a while. And then speaking of stabilizer, that is what's in this bottom drawer. All of my different types of stabilizer is in here. So I have like medium, my cutaway, my tearaway, and wash away is all right in this drawer. This is my corner cabinet, and in here is where I have my wood supplies are up here. Anything that I'm going to do that requires a piece of wood, framing, that kind of thing. I have a little round organizer there in the middle that has the heat gun and foam brushes. Down at the bottom is cleaning supplies. This right here is my container for my stamp and die storage system, so that's in there. And then again, I do have those motion sensitive lights that turn on when it senses motion, and then I can see better in there. Now you can see a little bit better. And now we're at the very end of the cabinets in my older craft space, and then we'll move into my newer craft space. But this is where I have my vinyl and iron-on storage. It's all in here along with any kind of transfer tapes. At the very end of the cabinets and before we move into the newer space, I have just some larger size things like a larger size ruler, a shadow box, my butcher paper in case I ever need it, as well as some of my then right on the other side of the doorway is another side of my shelving, and this is all of my boards for my replica surfaces. I keep them in their original packages here, and then my replica stand is actually in the storage room, so when I need to take photos, I just bring that out, pull out the boards I want to use, I put the boards back, and then I put the stand back. This is my office area in the newer space. I'm not going to go through all of the drawers because some of it's just office supplies, but I will go through what's on the countertops, the walls, and then we'll do the cabinets. I'm going to start on the wall here first. I apologize for that big glare of a light. It's what I use in this space to kind of help it be a little bit brighter in here because I have no windows. But I have two of the Lowe's shelving in here. The top shelf is just a lot of knickknacks, but I do have one of my cross-stitch projects that I did back in the 90s. And then on the second shelf here, and get you off that light there so you're not staring at it. On the second shelf here is just a dough bowl here, and then this back here is a shadow box of some of my mom's crocheted granny squares that she made. I have my sidekick up here, and then on the very end I have a vase that has dried flowers from our wedding. I'm going to start right here in the corner. This right here is just an acrylic desk organizer that I have a couple of notebooks in. I do have two notebooks here. This is a supplies notebook that I use for whenever I film a video, and this is a calendar. On top of here, I recently have been going crazy with purchasing stuff for the Nashville Market release of a whole bunch of new cross-stitching stuff. I had a gift card to Michael's, and then Joann's is going out of business, so I wanted to go and stock up on some of my DMC floss that I'm going to use for some of those brand new things. This right here is a brand new lamp. I bought that a couple of weeks ago, but I have yet to put a bulb in it. This right here is a bowl that my mom had. I keep things in there like my SD cards for filming. So the next area is just an office area. So I have a monitor, my speakers, keyboard, nothing super exciting. On the wall, I have a cork board that I just use to pin some photos to. Of course, I have to have a box of tissues. And then I have a printer. Then on the end, I have my Cricut Extra, Joy Extra. This is the one I use the most. And then I have this tray that has some extra copy paper, two things of thread that I bought for, or floss that I bought for a cross-stitch project that I cannot figure out what it's for. So I'm just leaving it there because I'm hoping I'll figure it out. I apologize, you're going to have another glare from a light again, but this is my floss storage. This is just above where my Cricut Joy Extra is. I have a bar that has, or a wood display that has hooks on it, and then these are my different types of threads. So this is all Classic Colorworks. These are colors that I have that are not needed for kits. Same thing, this is Weeks Dye Works. I don't have a whole ton of Weeks Dye Works. Most of my Weeks Dye Works are in kits. Then this section right here is all thread and stuff that I've used in previous kits that I didn't use much of, and I wanted to hold on to it in case I need it for another kit. And then in the back there is another little spool of thread. Now these are the bags that the idea I got from Nicole Spohr when she did her holiday Stitchmas, Vlogmas style video series, and she was using these bags to store kits and fabric. I decided to also use them to store things that still need things for it. So this particular one I still need fabric for, so I just have that here. This one right here actually is ready to go again because I needed to get more of the blue floss because I wanted to do more of this particular design. I did one of the pillows from this. So I'm actually going to take that down. Now this one I did one of the pillows in the book, but I wanted to do more of them and I still need some more of the floss colors for those. So that's sitting here. So if I'm ordering, I could just pull this down and grab the floss colors that I need. And the same thing with the rest of them that are hanging up here. They need something, either fabric or floss. On the office side of my craft room, I am really just going to focus on this particular corner. The other one is just all office supplies. But in this section, what I do is this top drawer has manuals, anything that manuals that will fit in here because it's a little drawer. But I have things like my instruction book for my mini die cutting machine, my iron, and anything that would just fit in there. That's what's in there. Then moving down, this particular cabinet, I do have a motion light in here as well. And in here is where I have extra cardstock, some tools, and travel bags for some of my tech supplies. Next to that cabinet is going to be another section here that I have one of those motion sensor lights in. And in here is where I have all of my solid cardstock. That's the full sheets. They are stored inside of the M Design, which is something that I've used when they were being stored on the wall, the built-in bookcase. But this is where I keep all of it. In the back is all of the different colors. I don't know if you could see it. In the front is more of the neutrals. And then on a top shelf is where I have my 6x6 paper pads for pattern paper and that sort of thing. So that all lives right here now. And last but not least is where I have all of my card making supplies. This section is on the opposite side of the room where I have my office area. I'm going to start with what I have on the walls. We'll do the counters and then we'll talk about what's inside of the drawers. This right here is another one of the IKEA pegboard systems. I do have 3 cups up here that are for pen and pencil storage. In there is just some inexpensive blending tools that we don't need to look at. This is another one of those trays that you can hook onto your system. In here, I think it was Jennifer McGuire that had this little acrylic, I don't remember if it's a pencil holder, but it's great for holding your blending brushes. On hooks on the side over here, I do have my cardstock cut down into like a tag style system. So they're all labeled to say like this is paper tray ink, spellbinders, and Concord and Ninth. Underneath that is my hex chart for my Olo markers, which are the markers I like to use for coloring. We're going to start right here in the corner. This is my larger size Empress that I use all the time. This is the one that I use if I'm doing something that's pretty large. I do have this little Lazy Susan style craft tray that has a shelf in it that you can put your die cuts or plates inside of it. But I don't know if this is still available. I think I saw that it was not available on the website anymore, but it might be back. I'm not 100% sure, but I love this little system. As a matter of fact, wait, now that I'm saying it, I think the new machines actually have a Lazy Susan that you could purchase with it. Maybe, but I like this because I like to be able to keep my plates right here at hand. Behind my die cutting machine are 3 of these Organize More cubby storage systems. These are great for storing markers or pens. I use them for my Olo markers. I have my markers separated by color family. On the top is just a random pottery that if I need to throw like a scrap or something in, it's up there. And then I have pigment inks next to that. And then right next to that is where I have my little Lazy Susan for my Gina K brushes. Next to my brushes are my Organize More storage for my ink pads. I have my Simon Says stamp here, my Concord and Ninth on this side. I do keep them separated. I probably could interfile them and have them as one large ink collection, but I've been doing this for so long that I'm just used to doing it this way. On the top are these little containers, again, those little acrylic containers I have, and in here, I just have them displayed with my scrapbook.com pops of color, and that just goes across the top. Right in front of the ink is another glass board studio mat. I have one here as well, because if I ever want to make a card standing here, if I need to heat something, or if I just want to stamp or do something right here, I could do that without having to worry about getting anything on my countertops. But this is these are great mats because they're also heat resistant. So even if I wanted to heat on here, I could do that as well. Okay, we're making our way into the corner now. Another one of these handy baskets. This is another one of the baskets that I have. I think they came in a set of 2. And in here is things that need to be put away, things that I've recently received, or holiday themed. It just depends on the time of the year what might be in here, but I love these just for kind of making it easy to toss things in there that either I want to use or plan to use or just need to be put away. In this corner is where I have my distress oxides. I have Stampin' Storage containers. I think that's the name of the company. They're the ones that fit inside of the IKEA Razcog. Nope, that's the name of the cart. The IKEA Calyx units. And that, they're just, I've had these for years because I had a Calyx unit, but that is what I keep my distress oxides in. I do have them, I don't have the full collection, but I buy them as I see them on sale locally. On the top is where I have my distress mica stains. These are just larger blending brushes here that are in a acrylic container that I haven't really played with very much, but I do need to play with. I also have my Spellbinders Platinum 6 here because I use this a lot for just embossing, or if I'm using my glimmer or my glimmer machine or my Better Press, then that's what I use. And then on the side over here, I just have this little bathroom style tray that I picked up at Home Goods. This is great for keeping my blending brushes for my alcohol or my oxide inks separate. So they're right here. And then I just stuck just a couple of things in here just to have something in here. These little acrylic things didn't come with it. I'm thinking that you could probably put, it's a bathroom organizer, so I'm assuming you could put like your cup or something there, or just, you know, whatever. So that is what is right on this section. I'm getting lazy and don't feel like expanding this tripod all the way up so you can see the top of it, but this is another one of the IKEA pegboard systems. I have 3 of these trays on here. This bottom one has my Distress Spritz, and then the top 2 have my Distress Oxide sprays. I also have a hook over here that has my Tim Holtz stencils hanging off of it. And then down at the bottom, and I apologize, I got a little wonky there. Down at the bottom is my Gina K paper trimmer that just hangs there so that I can just grab it when I'm in this space and I don't have to go looking for my other one. I'm going to start going through the drawers for my card making supplies. This top drawer right here has sequins in it. So I have the sequin trays. I have 2 of these trays, and then I have just random sequins laying inside. I do have an acrylic container here that's got my enamel dots in it. And then I have in the very front some of the shaker covers from Waffle Flower there. The next drawer is going to be where I have all of my supplies for my glimmer system. So I have the actual glimmer system right here, and then all of the tools that I need. I have plates in the middle, and then on the very end I have all of the foil that I need for that system. The next drawer is got room to grow actually, so I have space over here for adding whatever. And then on this side I have my stencils. I keep my stencils in a 6x8 binder, and they're just labeled at the bottom of the page protector with the name of the company and the name of the stencil itself. I have ones back here that need to be put away, so they're just sitting here. Well, they need either to be put away or to be put into a pocket. And now you're probably wondering where I put my stamps and dies. Well, these bottom drawers over here are not quite as deep as the ones that were in my original space, but they are deep enough that I return everything on its side. They work perfectly. So this particular drawer in the front here, I have my embossing folders. And then in the section back here are all things that are retired stamps and dies that I'm holding on to. In the middle section are more of my larger size embossing folders. I have holiday themed stamps and embossing folders over there. And then this very last section is all broken down by holiday. So I have like spring and Easter, fall and Halloween, Christmas and winter. And since I'm down here, I might as well just show you this drawer and then we'll work our way up in this section. So this is the drawer that has all of my stamps in it. My stamps and dies, they are sorted by company. I do have the stamps and dies interfiled. Before I used to keep my dies separate and my stamps separate. Right now they're interfiled, but I might change it because I don't know if this is going to work. This right here is all like Spellbinders dies in here. Then I have my Tim Holtz back here. Larger size, well, this is one that was out because I was using it. This back here are all background stamps. They're in larger size pocket folders. And then on the side over here is where I have my Tim Holtz Tim Holtz stamps the Stampers Anonymous, and then I have larger size stamps there. In this drawer, which is the next drawer up from my stamps and dies, is going to be my mini ink cube storage along with my watercolor and water pencils. So this side right here, this is the Distress Oxide chart that you can just print off of the Ranger website. I have this here with the oxides that I have marked off. I have a picture of this on my phone, so when I go shopping and I see them on sale, I can grab whatever I need if I want to buy them. I have in here these little mini cube organizers that I picked up off of Amazon, and I absolutely love them. They work great for storing my distress inks. So I have 2 layers here. I have the top layer and a bottom layer, which even has room to grow, but I won't be adding any more distress inks to this because Tim Holtz is not making any more distress inks. And then back here is my Gina K inks. They are in smaller trays like this, but they're by the same company that made the larger trays that I have here. I got the smaller ones because I didn't want to have to put taking up a whole drawer. This way I can have smaller ones in the back and then my larger ones out, or the larger size trays rather, out in the front. On this side is where I have my paintbrushes. I have a watercolor palette down here. I have my watercolor pencils, my distress ones. And then in the back here is just some supplies from when I'm working with Gamasol and blending with colored pencils. This next drawer has room to grow. It has space over on this side, but this over here is my Better Press system. I have my plates all right here. They're just in the front here that I can look through them. I have the system, and then I have the cotton cardstock here as well. And in the very back, I don't know if you can see it, I have just my inks that work with the Better Press system, but I do just basically use whatever inks I have on hand. The top drawer is where I keep things like larger size punches are over here, some project trays that if I'm working on a project, I can pull those out and use that to sort my materials. And then on the side over here is where I have my embossing powders. And now we're just moving over to the last couple of drawers here. This top drawer is where I have all of my wax seals, my beads. The wax seal system is over here. I have my beads back here. My seals are all up front here. And then I have my little tea light candles in the side here. One thing I did was I did take all of my wax seals in the different colors and just put them in this tray so I could just easily take this over to my craft desk and use my wax seals that way rather than having to take the larger size container with all of the bags of them. This is just a sampling of everything that I have. The next drawer down is a mixed media drawer. I have things like my distress paste, my paper glaze, just regular embossing paste, glitter, some tools that I use for using embossing paste and that sort of thing are all in here. Like I said, I like to use the acrylic containers because I could just take this whole container right over to my desk and you work out of the container and then I just bring it back to put back in place. The next drawer is where I have all of my markers. I have my extra Olo markers are here. These are refills that I can use for my full set that I have up there. I have my Distress crayons, my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir markers are here, and then my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. They're all right here. Again, acrylic containers. I could just pick this right up, take it right over to my desk, and then bring it back into this space when I'm done. Then this is the last drawer, and down here is where I have my Distress inks. When Tim Holtz said he was no longer making any additional colors and he doesn't know how long Ranger was going to keep these things in supply, I decided to go ahead because I love the refills for the regular Distress inks because they make great dyes for dyeing fabric or dyeing ribbon. So I wanted to make sure I had them. So I did invest in those. But the rest of it is all like alcohol inks from Ranger, from Altenew, and then in these 2 containers right here are refills for some of my ink pads that I have refills for. I don't have every refill for every ink pad. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my craft room and found a little inspiration on how to store and organize some of your crafty supplies. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.